we'll get going. Okay, welcome to Book Club, Chapter 6, you guys. And I am, honey, will you bring me my coffee or my drink? Thank you. Okay. Practice sharpens your talent. And again, you guys, always something to learn in these chapters that we are reading with John Maxwell, because he is a great teacher. But I love the first chapter, or the first paragraph, like we talked about, says it is a fact that you play at the level at which you practice. Consistently good practice leads to consistently good play. It sharpens your talent. Successful people understand this. The value, practice, and development, the discipline to do it. They value the practice and develop the discipline to do it. And discipline is what I circled, you guys. If you want to sum up what lifts most successful individuals above the crowd, you could do it with 4 little words: a little bit more. Successful people pay their dues and do all that is expected of them, plus a little bit more. And you guys, that's where, I feel like in so many times in this chapter, I kept feeling like, okay, it's when people get like this close and then they quit. And if they would have just done a little bit more or just stayed with it a little bit more, you would have been area manager. When you just fall short of it. And that's what happens with successful people, is that they are willing to do the little bit more that it takes to be able to get successful at a level that other people don't see, because they're not doing the little bit more. He talked about a story where this boy wanted to be, was little, and his dad went to debtor's prison because they always had the ability to spend a little more money than they made. And that's what we did, was spend a little more money than we made. But he said that his dad went to debtor's prison. And I just thought, you guys, are you in some kind of debtor's prison? Like, have you given away? We were in time. We were in a prison of time, lack of time. Our time had us locked into a prison. Our lack of money had us locked into a prison, which fed into us having to give up our time and be in that prison. But I just want you guys to, because again, if you know why you need to do this business, your how will come. What about your life is it that you feel imprisoned with? And this guy ended up having to work in some factory that he hated, and he felt like he was in as much prison as his dad was, being in the debtor's prison because he was 12 and having to do something he didn't like doing. But what is it that we don't like doing every day that we have to do? And that is where I tell you, like, practice that skill. I'm going to keep saying it until I get this message out to all of you. Practice the skill of listening to your heart. We get so wrapped up in our day that we are just trying to survive the day. And we quit paying attention to what we want really our day to look like. We have let our day control us and our life control us to the point that we don't even pay attention to what it is we really want anymore. And I believe with all my heart, if you guys really knew what you really wanted versus what you have, you would do a little bit more in this business. Because when you do, you can buy back whatever prison, you can buy yourself out of prison. You can bail yourself out of prison if you know what it is you're doing it for. So I just thought, I know that has nothing to do with what he was talking about, but it's what I felt, and it's what I was willing to do to get out of prison. He said he could achieve his goal that he had of becoming a writer through hard work and lots of practice, and with the benefits of books and museums and some coaching from his uncle. And I just thought, you guys, everybody needs help. And that's what I love about this business, is that if you decide you want something else out of life, you have the people here to help you achieve it, as well as the vehicle. But because of his diligence, it didn't take him long to hone a skill. And that's the part that you've got to bring to the table. What we have is everything you need. This company, your leadership, the tools, the experience, the success, we have everything you need. We just need you to come in here and give it the priority that it needs in order for it to give you back what this business is wanting so desperately to bless you with. He said he wrote sketches in his spare time on page 105. With the creation of each new piece, he sharpened his talent. You guys, spare time is what he said. And spare time is how I built this business to nation. I didn't get to take one thing out of my life that I had to do to pay my debt in this debtor's prison that we had gotten ourselves in. I built this business in spare time. And I know this is what no one loves hearing this. Everyone probably even, let's say, hates hearing this, that I'm going to sit here and say, none of you have less time than I had to build this business because you don't like having to hear that. I don't say it to be in your face. I say it to help release you of that prison that you may have yourself in, where you're telling yourself you just don't have the time to take advantage of this gift and do a little bit more so that it can give you back more. But you do. It's the people that will take advantage of those precious moments and make something happen on purpose instead of wasting them away and letting it be, done with something or spent on something that's going to give them back less in return. That is what spare time can give people that are willing to do a little bit more in their day. I was willing to do a little bit more in my day than work my over full-time job, take care of my kids, my home, and all that I had and was busy with. And I was still willing to do a little bit more in my spare time to build this business. Look at your day, you guys, and just truly, if you went through your day again, I think that's where we have to develop the discipline and get the skill practice where we pay attention to what we do with our time at every point in our day. You guys, on my breaks in between my patients, I had patients scheduled every 10 minutes. But if I had a break and I was able to get everything done that I needed to for that patient before I was having to go to the next patient, I was looking at my emails back in the day. Today it would be text messages. I was looking at my emails going, okay, who needs my help? Who's asking a question? Or getting a list of people that I knew I needed to call to book more appointments or to follow up on the appointments that I had made already and done. I was doing every little nook and cranny that I had. I was spending that time doing a little bit more for Arbonne because Arbonne was the vehicle that was going to get us out of the situation we were in. So are you working in your spare time, and what are you doing with it? And can you do a little bit more and accept that, yes, we're busy, but if we have the ability to do a little bit more, and we could do a little bit more. And it makes a big difference in Arbonne. You guys know a little bit of work in Arbonne makes a really big difference in Arbonne. It says his years of practicing his craft by writing sketches were finally about to pay off. And most, you guys, is where I wrote down, most quit just before payday. You work consistently and you may be almost at area or almost, to an RVP level, and then you back off. And when you back off and you're on and off and on and off, it's like Dr. Barrett says in his book, Dare to Dream, Work to Win. It's like we're driving with the parking brake on. Like, have you ever been in the car and tried to go and it's like, and it's, jerking you back and forth because it is Elsa, Esme. No. So that is what it's like, because we stop. And you guys, if you just went a little bit more and a little bit further, you would be able to hit area goals and find those people. It's like, instead of, quitting just before the finish line, just keep pushing even when you don't think you can. I know every time I go to a workout class, one of our instructors, she loves to say, you can do anything for 15 seconds, or you can do anything for a minute. You can do anything for just a little bit more, you guys. You're stronger than you know. But he says, as talented as he was, he didn't start out at the top. Even geniuses need practice to sharpen his talent and reach your potential. And so, you guys, again, he says, people aren't born great. They work to be great. We're all born with some talents, but we have to hone and sharpen our talents, which is why we're reading this book. Talent is never enough. to be able to become great and to be successful. It's that difference. And I love how later on in this chapter, he talks about the difference in an Olympic winner versus a loser. And it's fractions of a second that an Olympian will win because they're able to practice and sharpen their skill with the extra practice and help them finish and get across the finish line more successfully than somebody else. He says there's a myth about highly talented people, and it is that they simply are born that way. He says, but the truth is that no people, not some people, he doesn't even give you a disclaimer here, no people reach their potential unless they are willing to practice their way there. Preparation positions talent, and practice sharpens it. He says, he said that there was a coach, and he said that the two things that made a difference to get a team from being good to great is that the preparation of the team and the practice of the players. And you guys, this is where I wrote, we have you prepared. We are so prepared for you to get out there and win at this game called Arbonne. You have to put in the time practicing it. And I know I'm speaking to the choir with those of you that are on this call, sharpening your skills and growing yourself as people. But I'm also wanting you to be the ones to do a little bit more and look at your life and go, okay, am I practicing my presentation? Like I talked about on our Wednesday night training call. Are you working this business because you have somebody right here beside you working this business with you and for you? Because next month, or even maybe this month, they may have somebody else that signs up in this business to start with them over here, this leader that's helping you, and they have to go over here. Or maybe you're just like with me, Martha. Martha was here for one event, and then I called her and told her when I had other events, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Can you get them to reschedule? And I was like, no, I'm not asking somebody to reschedule. I'm letting Martha come over here and do whatever she wanted to do. I'm going to keep working over here because I was a leader. I didn't have a title, you guys. I was in the business for one party, but I was already a leader in Arbonne, willing to do what I needed to do to figure out how to get good enough at this business. And I was willing to be bad at it before I was good at it, and then be good at it before I was great at it. And that's what we have to do is be willing to use what we have been given. I didn't even have what you guys have today. If I had what you had today, I would have told Martha never even bother to come to the first party that she did for me because I could have handled it. Now, I know I'm different and we love coming with you. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, number one, don't let a leader slow you down. I didn't let Martha slow me down. And number two, don't stop working when your leader has to come over here, because a leader is going to work with the people that they need to work with. And what a leader does is they plug them into what is prepared for you and to use for yourself to build this business. And once you've been plugged into those resources, then you should, as a leader, be able to take those resources and run with them because you have been prepared. Now you need to practice it and you need to do it. And it's better and fun to practice it when you have somebody with you and ask questions and get feedback. But if that person can't, then you got to come over here and you got to be willing to do it no matter what. So that is where preparation of the team, check, we've got it. 2, practice of the players. That's where we get to make a difference in what you're in control of in this business. He said it made sense to him because preparation positions talent and practice sharpens it. He said, so before we go any further, there's 3 things you need to know about practice. 1, practice enables development. How do we grow and develop? Through practice. He says people refine old skills and acquire new skills, new ones through practice. You guys, we can always get better. And I love this at the very end of this chapter. It was my favorite things that he talked about because I'm in this business. And he says, and one day you'll play each other. I'll say, I've been in this business a long time. And what he said at the end helped excite me because what I love about this business is it never gets old. And it's because of what he says in this chapter. But the difference, you guys, he says, is there, he said, the former basketball player in the U.S. Senator Bill Bradley says that he attended a number of basketball camps when he was 15 years old. And he said there was a star, Ed McCauley, told him, just remember that if you're not working at your game to the utmost of your ability, there will be somebody out there with equal ability who will be working with the utmost of their ability, And one day you'll play each other and he'll have the advantage. So if you ever look at people and you go, you know what, why are they so good? What is it that makes them, so much better than me? And it's like, you can have equal ability in this company, you guys, and in this life, really. And in this company, all we have to do is stop using other people's products, start using Arbonne's products, and share what we love about it with other people and care about helping people discover products like we have. And that's what we have to do. So I promise you, if you're sitting here thinking, well, I just don't have the ability to do Arbonne the way, and it's not in my talent range, like John Maxwell was trying to play the piano and somebody was better at it. This is not a musical instrument. It's not like you have been, predestined to be able to use a product or not use a product successfully. That's all we have to do. So you all have the ability to do Arbonne. You all have the opportunity to practice what we do and get better at it. So if you were sitting here thinking, oh, that's my problem, they're a better Arbonne consultant than me. That doesn't play in this area like it did with his piano recital. He said, what happens is that people have the same ability, but the ones that are playing to the utmost ability and using it are the ones that are going to come out on top. And they're going to look better because they're doing more than what you might be doing or somebody else in this business is doing. It's the only difference. There's nobody better in this business than somebody else. It's just who's doing more. And that makes you better because practice sharpens your skills. He says practice leads to discovery. He said every single performance, Harvey Mackay says, can be improved. He said, and what you get to do is a chance to warm up every time you practice. So we can always get better. He says practice both shows and builds commitment. So whenever he says it shows and builds commitment, you guys, that's whenever you realize how committed are you. And it's not that you're committed to Arbonne. That's when people go, it just cannot be that important to me. I get that Arbonne is not that important to people. But what I also get is that what you do need to be and have important in your life, your whys, means Arbonne needs to be important to you. Because unless there's another vehicle that can help you achieve those whys, this needs to be important and you need to be committed to it. And practice and working when nobody is there and nobody's watching, or when your leader has to leave and you're still standing over here, that's what makes your commitment stand up. And people notice that this is a priority for you. You're committed to it. And honestly, you guys, when they would have told you no, they would start saying yes to you because they know how important and serious this is to you and that you're not giving up no matter what. And even if they say no to you, you still don't give up. You're committed. He said the true test of commitment and is action. So are you acting no matter what? He says, but when you follow through and practice, you show your commitment. And then when you do that, your commitment becomes stronger. You become more committed to it just by doing it. That's probably why I'm so committed after 15 years. Your performance can always be improved. We've talked about that. We've never arrived to our full potential, he says. And that's what I love about this. And one of the things that he says towards the end is that since there's always a better way, your job is to find it. And in Arbonne, we're always being innovative and staying relevant. And we have to work to sharpen our skills and to find a way to do things better today, just like our presentations were just revamped, because I think they're better today than they were before. So the next one, he says, the sharpening process is better in the right environment. Improvement always requires some degree of failure, but you must seek practice in an area where experimentation and exploration are allowed. And I love that because Arbonne is the perfect environment for us to be bad before we're good, and for us to be able to be to benefit from failing forward, because it just means we're practicing and we are out there doing it and we're getting better. I love it when people are calling and everybody always says, well, you're so busy, Carlita. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I love talking to the people that are calling me because you know what? I know you're busy working Arbonne and you probably need some help to perfect your skill. And that's what we're here for as your leader. We want to help prepare you for that. He says, very small differences consistently practiced will produce results. And he says, at first, The gains are small, as I said. He said, when you practice, a curious thing happens. He said, at first, your gains are little bitty tiny things. And you guys, that's whenever Tom Barrett talks about how, is this business worth it? Sorry, I have people spraying my yard. Is this business worth it? And whenever you're out there and you're working really hard, but you don't see very many results, you start going, gosh, it's just not worth it. I put all these hours in, because we're thinking with our employee mind, and we're thinking my hours spent versus what my paycheck and my commissions and pure pay was from Arbonne. And you go, gosh, this is not worth it, because you only see little bit of reward for the practice and effort you put into this. And then he says, but there comes a time, if you persevere, that when the gains become, they begin to grow. And then you start to realize, okay, it's worth it. It's worth it. And then he says, but then there comes a time that if you persevere, when the gains become small again. But the small gains, you guys, at that point are what make the difference between Olympic winners versus the losers. He said that's those fractions of a second that people win by in the Olympics whenever we get those tiny little gains in the end. So you have to play through being willing to have a smaller return for a whole lot of effort and practice. Then you start getting to the point where you have good returns, and your returns start to grow for you, and you see the results of your hard work and effort. And they're kind of like by leaps and bounds. It's when you start going area and region, and you have these big jumps in your check. Then you have the small gains again, because a little bit of gain on a whole lot of people, you guys, makes a big number in Arbonne. We always say at national vice president level, you make a 1% increase over the regional vice president level. And you go, gosh, only 1% to go all the way to the top of this company. You would think it would be bigger. But you guys, 1% of a lot is a lot. And that's what you have to know. But you got to play through the small gain to be able to get to and work towards the ultimate small gain that makes a big difference. One half of knowing what you want to know is one half of knowing what you want is knowing what you must give up before you get it. And again, John Maxwell, pay or play. We pay and play either way. He says, but when you play on the front end, you pay a bigger price on the back end. Be willing to pay on the front end and do everything you need to do today, right now, so that your life can be more of what you want on the back end, because it is worth it. He says, if you don't, you may end up paying much more than the ride is worth. And you guys, there are things in my life that if I hadn't paid what I paid in Arbonne for our life to be what it is as a family, it would have been a much bigger price. And even though I would have loved being, and having what we had and been grateful, I would have thought, gosh, that job that I gave my life to was not worth giving up what I gave up, the price I paid for having to work that job. I promise you guys, pay on the front end. Pay right now. I don't even care what stage you are in life. You may go, well, my kids are already grown. I don't care. Your grandkids are coming. Your somebody else, something is coming down the road that if you pay right now, you will get to play more down the road. And you'll be positioned or prepared for an impact down the road, and what you pay will be less. 3, practice demands discipline, you guys, and this is the one that gets people. He says, one reason some people see practice as a grind is that it requires discipline. And there's no easy way to bystep it. We don't get to take a shortcut and not be a disciplined person and do what it is we all have to do to be able to be successful. He says developing discipline always begins with the struggle. So if you're one of those people that go, gosh, I just struggle with discipline. Everyone in the world struggles with discipline. But he says there's no easy way to become a disciplined person. It has nothing to do with talent or ability. It is a matter not of conditions, but of choice. And you guys, can I tell you that when you choose to quit, letting lack of discipline be in control of your life, or when you choose to decide to be disciplined,
it gets easier. The hate of wanting to be disciplined is the hard part. It's like Tom Barrett says again, like the hardest part about going and exercising is getting up and tying your shoes, getting your shoes on. I mean, no one ever feels disciplined when you're laying in bed and you're half awake and half asleep, but you know you got to get up or you're not going to have time to work out. No one in the early stages of your physical health life feels like jumping up out of bed in that moment. But it's the ones that are disciplined enough to get up and put your shoes on, that once you get those shoes on, it's like, okay, let's go. And you know why? Because you're so proud of yourself that you disciplined yourself to get yourself out of that bed and get up and go to the gym like you know you need to, or go do whatever it is you need to. Same with Arbonne, whatever it is. If it's Arbonne that you know you need to do, you hate the thought of having to, you know, spend your time doing what we need to do in Arbonne sometimes, and you're fighting it so much because you don't like doing it, the thought of having to do it. But the second you decide to just get up and get your list of names and go, okay, I've got my names, I'm just going to start sending my text messages. Do you know how much easier it automatically gets? Discipline is not as hard, I don't think, as people think it is. It's just deciding you are going to be. That is as simple as it could be to make every area of your life easier. Because to have a good life, you guys, we have to be disciplined in every area of our life. And we have to just decide that we are going, just decide, say, I am going to be a disciplined person. I don't care if it's in what you're eating, how much you're, you know, moving and exercising, how much time you spend watching TV, how much time you spend, you know, working on your marriage, or, you know, spending as a mother, and what you're doing with those things, and how well is your house picked up and cleaned. What area can you just decide, I'm just going to be a disciplined person today, and challenge me, prove me wrong, if you don't end up feeling so much better about yourself. And you guys, that is where people then become successful thinkers, because you feel good about you. When you know you're not doing your best, we feel bad about ourselves and we beat ourselves up. And then it's even harder to be disciplined, because you are feeling so beat up about yourself and you're so down on yourself that you're like, there's no way you could be disciplined because you're such a worthless human being. And I mean, I know that sounds harsh, but that's truly how people think sometimes, is that they are just not, you know, a good enough person because they're not disciplined like Carlita Nelson is. And you guys, it wasn't easy either. It's just the deciding, but it gets easy, I promise. The second thing that emerges in a winning spirit is the harder you work, the harder it becomes to surrender. And that's what I was just saying, is like, when you start doing it now, like there's days I don't feel like getting up and going to work out, but you know what? It's harder for me to lay there and not be a disciplined person and do it, because I have developed that winning spirit of knowing I always feel better when I do it. So just get up and do it. That's how long it takes me to decide from, do I want to, do I not want to? It's that quick and easy now, because I've developed a winning spirit. Okay, the 5 pillars of practice. Pillar 1, an excellent teacher or coach. One of my core beliefs is that everything rises and falls on leadership, John Maxwell says. And you guys, it's true. We are our lid, and we perform. He says people who perform at their peak practice effectively, and they practice effectively under the leadership of a good teacher. Well, I'm just going to say it like it is. You guys have good teachers. We've got the best of the best in Arbonne. I mean, John DeVete, our new CEO, that's all he keeps saying is, oh my gosh, you guys are the most amazing group of people in this industry that is out there in the world today. You've got great teachers. But what I know is that if you as a leader are only willing to discipline yourself this much, it's what you'll expect this much out of your team. If you are only willing to be coached up to this level, you're only going to be able to coach your team up to this level. And if you will practice and be willing to be coached, you raise your leadership lid. And every time you raise your lid, you make room and create a way for your team to come up and raise up underneath you. A good teacher or coach, like all good leaders, knows the strengths and weaknesses of each person. And he says he knows whether a person is right-brained or left-brained, and they can tell when someone needs a pat on the back or a kick in the pants. And you guys, I was thinking about that, and I was like, gosh, I hope I know when people need the pat on the back or the kick in the pants, because I know I'm such a tough love leader, because I know if you will just do the hard thing, you'll get better results. But I mean, if I'm ever kicking you in the pants and you need a pat on the back, just tell me, because I'm good at loving you too. I promise you. I just love you in a way that I want you to know exactly what you need to do, how you need to do it, so you can go give me your best. And that's pillar number 2, your best effort. So just that's what we expect out of people, is just their best. You know, we don't expect, A pluses every time. We just expect you out there working hard. If you fail forward, learn from it, and then get up and do it again, but be better at it this time because you're practicing. 3, a clear purpose. Establish a purpose of practice, which I think are our whys. He says most people feel best about themselves when they have given their very best. If excellence, he says, as you practice, let's start at the top of that, page 115. Make excellence your target and give your best to achieve it. He said, Bill Hybels says, most people feel best about themselves when they have given their best. If excellence is your goal and you arrive at it, you will be satisfied even though you never achieve success. And you guys, this is where I've heard so many people say, Arbonne makes me feel worse about myself than I did before. And I don't know if any of you have ever said that or thought that, but I can tell you why. It's because you're not playing at your best, and you know it. And when you don't play at your best, and you know you could have done more, and you're surrounded by these people, it's like in John Maxwell's book, The 15 Laws of Growth, the law of the mirror. The mirror is you see what your potential is in somebody else. And if you're not willing to do that yourself, it makes you feel worse, because you see what you could be if you just worked for excellence and disciplined yourself to do what other people do in this world to be better. And so you start feeling worse about yourself because you're not disciplined enough, and choose not to discipline yourself enough to get up and rise up to do what the other person is showing you how you can do it and have the same results that they have. So if you've ever thought that, you guys, don't blame Arbonne for that. That is you worrying about how much you're not doing that you know you can do. And the simple fix to that, so you don't give up on this life-changing opportunity, is to do more. Discipline yourself. And then when you discipline yourself, it all starts being easier. And it's so funny whenever people get to experience that. It's like these, the heavens open up and the scales are removed from your eyes, and you go, oh my gosh, this isn't as hard as I thought it was. Pillar 4, the greatest potential. It's a fact that equal practice does not mean equal progress. And he says most people, I've already said that. Okay, next. He says, find potential leaders. Okay, I love this one. He says, but my point was, on page 116, was that it's much easier to train people in the area of their greatest potential. He said, when I evaluate people's potential, I ask 2 questions. 1, can they? 2, will they? And like I said before, you guys, everyone can. We stop using products, start using products, and share what we love about it with people. We can all do that. Question is, will they? The answers to these questions reveal something about their ability and their attitude. If both are right, the potential for excellence is high. And you guys, what we do in this business isn't hard. So just commit to being the person that says, I will do this, no matter what. He says, but when it comes to potential, the longer you leave it untouched, the more it decreases. If you don't tap into your talent, it wastes away. Oh, you guys, that one, I was like, star, 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 star. That's where you see people that were so gifted and so talented in high school and maybe even college life, and then they get into their adult life and they hit their peak, and then boom, they're done. And then all that talent and all the potential that they did have waste away because they are not tapping into it. They are not feeding it and helping it grow and get better. And again, that's why some people look more talented than others. And it's not always true, because in some cases, it's just that people had this talent. They didn't use it. It's like a muscle. If you don't use a muscle in a gym, it goes away. It's not like you can exercise for a month and hit a physical goal and then stop and expect it to still be there. It will go away. And that's what happens if we don't tap into our potential and our talent, we lose it. Who wants to lose what God has given us and then go back to him and answer, like John Maxwell says, our gift from God is our potential. What we do with it is our gift back to him. Who wants to go back to God and say, I wasted it and it all went away and I did nothing with the gifts and talents that you gave me? I know I don't. Anytime you require less of yourself than your boss, spouse, coach, or other involved person, your potential will go untapped and waste away. Pillar number 5, the right resources. Resources are nothing more than tools you need to accomplish your purpose. Every human endeavor requires resources of some kind. To practice well, you need to be properly equipped. And you guys, I hope you all feel properly equipped to be able to start practicing what it is you need to do to be good at this business. And he says there's one more secret to successful practice that will help you sharpen your talent. He says, I believe it helps elevate top achievers above everyone else. And he says it's summed up by the phrase, a little extra effort. No one ever attains very eminent success by simply doing what is required of him. It is the amount of excellence of what is over and above that required that determines greatness. Charles Kendall Adams said that. And you guys, that's where I love, and it's not that you can't develop it. Again, if you've been a person that, you've been trained in the employee mindset to do just what your job tells you to do and pays you to do, then that's okay. But what you want to be and what you want to look for are those people that even when all the work seemingly seems to be done, they're finding something else to do and keep themselves busy because they want to get that, they want to earn the paycheck. They want to be able to not, be sitting around doing nothing. They just want to be able to feel productive as a human being, whether they're getting paid for it or not. Those are people that are willing and already showing you they're willing to give a little extra effort. And those people, whenever you get them, the difference, he says, between ordinary and the extraordinary is the extra. So the people that you see that are at the top, it's not because they had an easy ride. It's because they're willing to do more. Like Martha said, you need to go book, 6, it was 6 back in the day. You need to go book 6 parties. And I remember her telling me, go sell $2,500 in product. And I was like, Martha, don't tell me what to sell. Tell me what to do. Because I'm a hard worker. I knew me, you guys. I was not a salesperson, and the thought of selling made me kind of sick, even though that was how I was going to get to change my life with this vehicle. But I knew if she just told me what you have to do in this business, I would do that and a little extra. I would do that and a little more because I'm a little more person. No matter what I was doing, whether I was getting paid for it, whether somebody was watching me or not, I was always willing to do a little bit more. And when she said 6, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go do 8, 10, 12, 14. There were days, months, I probably had 24 parties in my book, in my calendar. And because I was like, I'll do more. I'll do more. And if I can do more, then more is more with me. You guys know I say that all the time. And when you do more, you'll get more. He says a little extra time. Successful people practice harder, practice longer than unsuccessful people do. The most common trait I have found in all successful people is that they have conquered the temptation to give up. And this is where I just wrote, don't quit. Don't quit. You guys, even though I was willing to do a little bit more, do you think it worked perfect for me? No. But you know what? When it was down, I didn't give up. You know what I kept thinking, and Philip reminded me because he was listening to the call with me whenever I was listening to it. And he said, you know what you used to always say is, if I gave up today, it makes me cry because I hate regret, you guys. And I would say, but what if tomorrow, this is going to be when the next best thing happens in my business and I quit today. Like the thought of that happening and God saying, you know what? I was going to bless you tomorrow, but you quit on me today. That thought was what I would like think every time I wanted to quit and I felt like quitting, because it wasn't just easy for me either. I just kept thinking, but if I quit, I'm going to miss out on the blessing. And I wasn't willing to do it. So I was like, you know what? No matter how hard it is, no matter what it looks like, today, I'm not quitting. I'm going to keep disciplining myself. I'm going to keep giving a little bit of extra, and I'm going to keep believing, because this business works. There's evidence all around me that it works whenever I work. And 3, he says, you need a little extra help. He says, the author of Roots, Alex Haley, says that he kept a reminder in his office that said, if you see a turtle on top of a fence post, you know he had help getting there. And you guys, we all need help. I had so much help in my life from the time I was a kid, living poverty poor with people that cared about me and saw potential in me to help me see more potential in myself. They helped give me hands up. That's what this business is it's just giving you a little extra help to be all that you were created to be. It's giving you a hand up. In my life, I got hand ups all the time. And Arbonne was definitely, when Martha extended this gift to me, it was her giving me a hand up. And she helped me get up on top of the fence post that I sit on today. And we all want to help give you a hand up. Yes, Arbonne's a hand up, but your leaders are giving you a hand up to get to where you can be. He says, when I think about the ways that people have helped me in all aspects of my life, I am humbled and grateful. He says, some have given me advice, others have presented me with opportunities, and a few, like my wife, Margaret, have lavished unconditional love on me. I know I am a very fortunate man. And just think about, you guys, and be grateful for the people that have given you a hand up. 4, page 120, a little extra change. We cannot become what we need to be by remaining who we are. Let's face it, he says, you guys, most people are resistant to change. And if you don't change what you're doing, you're not going to change what you're getting. And if you don't change how you're doing it, if you're not where you want to be, you're not going to change what you're getting, because you're not changing anything about how you're doing things. He says, most people are resistant to change. They desire improvement, but they resist changing their everyday routine. You know, most people want to be healthy, but they resist developing the discipline to be able to get up and just put your shoes on so that it automatically becomes easy to go exercise. So do the change. Be willing to change. He says, we cannot become what we need to be by remaining what we are. To sharpen your talent through practice, you need to do more than just be open to change. He says, you need to pursue change. You need to do a little bit more than other achievers. Here's what to look for and how to focus your energy to get the kinds of changes that will change you for the better. He says, don't change just enough to get away from your problems. Change enough to solve them. Don't change enough of change your circumstances to improve your life. Change yourself to improve your circumstances. Don't do the same old things expecting to get different results. Get different results by doing something new. Don't wait to see the light to change. Start changing as soon as you feel the heat. Don't see change as something hurtful that must be done. See it as something helpful that can be done. Don't avoid paying the immediate price of change. If you do, you will pay the ultimate price of never improving. And he says, when you have worked hard in practice to sharpen your talent and you begin to see results, please don't think that it's time to stop practicing. You never arrive at your potential. You can only continue to strive toward it, and that means continual practice. And that's what I love about this business, you guys, is, you know what? There's like district, area, region, nation. Those are not your destination. Your destination is your potential. And the beauty of this business is, as long as you're growing, John Maxwell says, you're alive. It doesn't mean if you're 30 or 80. When you quit growing, you're old. This is a vehicle. And as I age, maybe I appreciate it more because I'm getting older, that I am never done. I am always being challenged to be disciplined every day to do what it is I need to do to grow more into the potential that I have been given, so that I can go back to my God and hear him say, well done, thy good and faithful servant. This is where you get to go into your potential. We're never going to be done, which is why I love this business. And I think we get so destination focused. I have to be district. I have to be area. I have to be region. Just be your best and do a little bit more, give a little extra, develop discipline, be coachable, stay connected, be the leader that's going to do it, whether your leader's right there beside you or not, and you will be able to reach towards your potential. We'll never reach fully, but we'll at least get closer than people who don't have a vehicle like this. Quality is a race, not a finish line. If you don't strive for excellence, then you are soon settling for acceptable. And that's where the world is, you guys. That's why I say you got to pay attention to your life to know what your whys are, because you've just accepted this is life as you know it. And that is not how extraordinary people think and live. We keep working to get better and reach more of what we know we can have and be and become. The next step is mediocrity, and nobody pays for mediocre. If you want to reach your potential and remain a talent plus person, you have to keep practicing with excellence. And that's the end, you guys. So I hope that you are getting your practice shoes on today, and you are doing whatever you need to work your list today, and just saying, I'm doing it. If I need to get my calendar full for September, by golly, today I'm going to do it no matter what. I'm going to put the extra effort into it, and I'm going to get 10. I know Tammy Clinton is doing a book 10 challenge, and so many people have stepped up and reached this goal for their business. What goal do you have for your business? Are you booking your 10 today no matter what? And you're going to keep working and getting better at it because you do? I just hope that this call positions you to tap into more of your potential today than it did before you got on and listened to this call. And I thank you for your time. I love you all so dearly. I believe in you more than you believe in yourselves. And whatever I can do to help you reach more of your potential is what my mission and my purpose and my passion is in my life. So I love you. Have a wonderful day and week. Thank you, Tammy.